Week 1 football season is here, and we've got at least 3 people that are excited about it. Chuckydale North Green last night, our game of the week. South Green, Morristown East, Cosby, West Green, and Greenville, Morristown West. Join us here today on Saturday morning for the the Roundup as we break down all those games and take a look at the week ahead. This is the morning Roundup when we take a look back at the previous week and then look forward for our Week 2 forecast. So kind of just what we'll do tonight, what we'll do today, guys, just looking around the region too, as well as these local games. We were at all the games last night between the 3 of us, and kind of got a good, I guess, foundation on what to expect, what to kind of look forward to heading into Week 2. But a lot to be excited about. I know for me, just sitting there at halftime watching the band play, that's when, for me, I was like, okay, high school football is back, and life couldn't be better right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Just great to be back. Summer went by fast. I'm excited for football season. It's just such a great time.
I mean, when that first night kicks off, too, that's when it really sinks in. I think all of us, especially Matthew and I, know how football prep is and how much time goes into it. But, man, when you get to that first day, it feels so much more rewarding. I know for us, we have different jobs. We get everything out of the way. No more commercials, no more production prep. No more roster prep, none of that. I mean, it's here, and it's good to be back on Friday nights under the lights at our county schools.
I know for me that moment was at halftime with the band. Landon Bryson of Chuckydale does a tremendous job. What was that moment for you guys where you were like, okay, it's Week 1, football season's here?
Listen, man, nothing quite like being out on the range. Slover, new coach, you can tell how detail-oriented he is. He's walking up to the cheerleaders for the run-out and telling them exactly how to hold the banner. I'm like, man, we're so back.
I think for me, it sinks in whenever you hear and see a student section, because jamborees, you don't have student sections. Scrimmages, you barely have any fans. But whenever you show up to a game and you see a student section and you see the theme, I think last night at Morristown East it was a dark out. So when you see kids dressed up in all black face paint, everything on, it starts to sink in like, man, football nights are really back.
We'll talk about some fans and some new set of bleachers last night. Chuckydale North Green in our game of the week. That's when we return the morning roundup for Week 1 high school football comes back.
Family owned, community loved. More than ink and paper, it's precision, performance, and pride in every project. Always on time, expertly equipped, locally owned. And something new is on the way. Ready for your next big project? Artistic Printers, where quality meets creativity.
Ready for a game changer? Say goodbye to costly lash extensions and fussy false lashes. Merle Norman Cosmetics has launched the formula you've been waiting for, Lash Extension Tubing Mascara. Wrap your lashes in 360-degree tubing technology for your longest, most defined, and separated lashes yet. This buildable formula won't flake, smudge, or transfer. Available in long-wearing rich black and a high-trending rich cocoa brown. Lash Extension Tubing Mascara and other new essentials are available now at Merle Norman Greenville and Eastgate Shopping Center.
Welcome back into the morning roundup as we take a look back at Week 1. Jimmy, you were at Greenville, Morristown West, and Cosby, West Green. Tyler, you were at South Green, Morristown East. Me and Brian were at the Chuckydale North Green game. That was our Bowman Bernard game of the week presented by Tommy Sloan. We're going to start there because I think that's, what everybody's talking about. Big outing last night for Chuckydale. Excuse me. But I think coming in kind of shockingly, they get as many people the ball as they did. They get the big 60-27 victory. They're on the road in a hostile environment.
You were there for that one, Sam, right?
No, not
so you weren't there for any of that one? From seeing the scoreboard, I mean, I know you and Brian would know the most about that, but what stands out to me the most, just, scoreboard watching, is when you beat a team 60-27 and you get that many people the ball and have that much success in a running game, then I think you look to your offensive line. I think the Chuckydale offensive line may have been returning the most starters. I know Greenville loses 4 or 5, South Green loses 4 or 5, North Green loses 4 or 5. Chuckydale and West Green are probably the most veteran offensive lines, and just scoreboard watching, it looked like that may have been evident last night in that Chuckydale game. From what you saw, what stood out the most to you in that game from Chuckydale's side?
It was definitely the trenches, the offensive line play. Coach Kaler went into it talking about how difficult the odd front would be to attack, to block. Like you said, they had 3 returners up front. You had Stamper and Shull, who played a lot last year, they come back. They start last night. You got Sean Rayon and Connor Hall. Sean actually started at center. He played all last season at tackle. That offensive line play, there was a point in that second quarter when Braden Green gets going. Green finishes with 2 touchdowns, where you ran power to that right side, and it looked like you could drive a semi-truck through that hole on the right side of the offensive line. Green would go on to score, and I think that's the moment where the game started to shift whenever I think they took a 19-7 lead after that first Braden Green touchdown run, and I think that's where it began, and you kind of saw that attrition there in the trenches.
I think for Chucky Doak, too, you start out week 1 and it brings you a lot of confidence. You beat a county rival in North Green and you put up 60, man, whenever you put up that much offense, that's a big confidence boost going forward for the season.
Yeah, man, they're so big and physical. It's crazy. You know, you look further ahead to matchups, and the sky's the limit there, man. They're so fast. I don't know. Kaler has them running at full speed right now, and I'm excited to watch them going forward.
19th win in a row in the series for Chucky Doak. They'll have Sullivan East at home next week. Something I wanted to touch on too. Johnson County, Sullivan East on Thursday night. Sullivan East got that win 41-0. So big matchup next week in Afton. Everybody else in Region 1 3A lost either last night or Thursday. Chucky Doak was the only one in that region to win. And a big shocker was Gatlinburg-Pittman going down to Seymour and Unicoi County going down to Davy Crockett. So at least of now, I know week 1 we like to kind of blow everything up, but as of now, that region seems to be wide open.
Yeah, and seeing Gatlinburg-Pittman lose the way they did to Seymour was shocking, not only just the fact that Gatlinburg-Pittman loses, but the score also being as lopsided as it was. I think some were surprised that Unicoi County loses to Crockett, but when you really step back and think about it, Crockett, higher classification, the home team, a little bit of that favors Crockett in there, knowing that you have a higher enrollment and then you're playing at home, but did not see the Sullivan East score. That one shocks me, knowing that Johnson County gets shut out. And credit to Sullivan East. They're a really improved team. Saw them with their scrimmage with North Green. They've got some dudes on that team, and they've got some really good athletes. But not shocked at all the teams except Chucky Doak lost. Was really shocked to see the scores from those games. Again, like we mentioned with Johnson County, you look at the Cherokee Pigeon Forge getting shut out. So a lot of low-scoring games for all of Chucky Doak's opponents in 3A.
Claiborne also gets shut out against Granger. You had that Gatlinburg-Pittman score 48-14 Seymour. It was Unicoi County 12, Davy Crockett 28, and then that Johnson County score again 41-0. Just a lot of shocking results there in Region 1 3A. Again, Sullivan East next week. Again, this is a Chucky Doak team who we talked about last year. They get out to that hot start, get out to a 3-0 start and then end the season 1-6. 464 yards of total offense yesterday. I think the biggest thing for me was seeing the distribution. 8 different ball carriers. They run it for over 300 yards again against North Green this season. Avery Parkey, and Coach Kaler talked about this coming in. I didn't quite believe him, but now I do. Avery Parkey was your starting running back last night. The sophomore had 12 carries for 78 yards. He was the only one that didn't score. You had Braden Green carry the ball 7 times for 57 yards and 2 touchdowns. You had Marcus Britt, 7 carries for 59 yards and a score. And then the freshman, Zayden Shockey. This is in late game situations, but he came in, he had 7 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown. He was the leading rusher, and he had a touchdown called back. It went, I think, 50 yards. So you're talking about a freshman coming in his first high school game. For a team that runs for over 300 yards, you get 4 guys to contribute like that. It's going to be a too many mouths to feed issue for sure this season in Afton.
I think so too, and you kind of start to think about teams in the past that have had that problem. It's a good problem to have. Sometimes it's a headache for coaches because everybody knows you deal with parents. But if you're a coach, you sort of like that at the same time just because teams don't have one central player they can stop. I know we'll talk about them later on in the show, but that kind of seems the case with South Green. You've got Trip Neese that you know everybody's going to really key in on. Years in the past, it was Yeshua Vaught for North Green. People were keying in on him, and you knew he was going to get the ball a huge chunk. That allows you to kind of spread the ball out to others, but when you're in a situation like Chucky Doak, you really don't know who's going to get the ball. You put 4 different players in the backfield that can all carry it, you really don't know, are they going to pass out of this? Okay, it's their main running back, so they may run. We've got to really focus on him and send 7 in the box instead of 6 to try to stop him. For Chucky Doak, that's a good thing to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And, later in the season when you start to face tougher competition, you're going to have to consolidate that. You can't give 8 ball carriers. You just can't have that. You're going to have to consolidate a little bit. It's fun to watch in the future, who's going to get those carries because they have so much talent, Like I said, they're physical all around the skill positions, and I can't wait to see how that shakes out.
Definitely helps the depth. Marcus Britt, Braden Green, both tremendous at linebacker yesterday. You had the sophomore Braxton Lowe with a receiving touchdown and an interception. Skylar Davis would have 3 catches for 59 yards, 2 touchdowns. One of them, Jimmy, might be being sent in for plays of the week. I mean, that was an incredible grab, his first touchdown. Chucky Doak trailed at 1 point, 7-6, and it wasn't all bad for North Green. They had their standouts. They had their moments as well. For Chucky Doak, you had a split quarterback time last night, and that's kind of what we expected going in. Kipton Ballwood finished 5 for 8 for 104, 2 touchdowns, and Brody Myers in his first high school career game, 3 of 7 for 35 yards and a touchdown as well. It's fun to see those two going back and forth. There's an old adage, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any quarterbacks. I'm not sure I believe that because they both looked really good last night.
Man, I love both of them. I think they both have their strengths, and Kaler does a good job scheming around that. I love watching Brody run the ball. I think he's extremely physical. He hits the hole hard. He has a great arm talent. If they develop him right, the sky's the limit there. And Ball, cerebral quarterback, does really good stuff with the ball in his hands, a great decision maker, and can put it in a lot of places.
And knowing what we know coming in, we know how good Brody was at the middle school level. We know the region championship last year, leading them, being the catalyst on offense, being almost virtually unstoppable. And then you have him walk into high school as a freshman, and he's already bigger than 90% of the team. And you think you've got to get him on the field somehow.
6'5", he's huge.
Yes, but you look at Kipton Ball, how many games has he started?
I think last night was his 19th start.
As a junior.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Knowing that he was a true starter as a freshman, not just making spot starts here and there. He was a true starter because of Dominique Atchison Jr.'s injury that season, so you kind of throw him into the fire. Kipton's earned that opportunity to keep that starting job, but at some point, I think we all know and you all talk about it, you got to get Brody on the field somehow. Whether that's at H-back, whether that's at tight end, I don't know what you do. I'm not a football coach. Football is a sport I know the least about. But with Brody's size and his talent, you got to get him on the field somehow. But then again, you look at their positions. They're both in the quarterback position in the depth chart. It's hard to choose between both of those. But, hey, we saw in the Jamboree when you put Brody at quarterback, you could put Kipton at wide receiver. So it's interesting. Chucky Doak's offense, I think, after seeing them last night and seeing them personally in the Jamboree, I think Chucky Doak's offense we can coin as the wild card because you don't know what to expect. I think as a total team, West Green might be the wild card. New head coach, new system, everything like that. But if we're talking about one side of the ball, Chucky Doak's offense got to be that wild card.
The Chucky Doak Black Knights are 1-0. They'll be at home to start their home schedule next week on Friday against Sullivan East. Again, there's 2 sides to this coin. The North Green Huskies will be on the road facing a county rival next week. We'll talk about them when we return here in the Morning Roundup.
Hey folks, it's Gateway Ford in Greenville. Right now, everyone gets Ford employee pricing. The same deal Ford employees get. No games, no negotiation. Save maximum green in Greenville today at Gateway Ford on Highway 11 East or at gatewayfordgreenville.com. Save some green in Greenville at Gateway Nissan, carrying on a 55-year tradition of doing business your way. Save thousands on Sentra, Rogue, Frontier, and more. Take the short drive to Gateway Nissan in Greenville or online at gatewaynissangreenville.com.
At Marathon Quick Stop Markets, you'll find a company that realizes that our customers are our biggest assets. We are a locally owned company, proud to serve our community. So we do everything with you in mind. We clean and sanitize our stores, provide a well-lit, monitored area to keep you and your family safe. You can always expect a friendly staff and a large selection of products with weekly specials. Stop in at a nearby Marathon Quick Stop Market today.
Welcome back into the Morning Roundup here, recapping Week 1 before we take a look forward to Week 2. We just got done talking about, I think, the the surprise of Week 1, the Chickadook Black Knights, they put up 60 against their cross-county rival. Let's continue on the other side of that game with the North Green Huskies. Again, they had their moments. It wasn't all bad for the Huskies. They do put up 27 points in a losing effort. They put up over 300 yards of total offense as well. Plenty to be excited about, 377 yardage total in that game. I think 3 big pieces. You had Matt Boyd over 100 receiving yards. You had Jared Swatzel over 200 passing yards with 3 touchdowns. Did throw that interception, but Leon Johnson, 24 carries for 156 on the ground. And I think he had, we were talking about on the broadcast last night, 25 or 30 yards taken away because of early holds. That was really an issue in those first couple drives for North Green. But you're going to be set up well in Region 1 Single A when you have 3 talents like that, and especially with Boyd and Johnson, who could be the best players in the region.
I don't know if we're surprised at the stat lines for all 3 of those players because you know you're gonna get a lot of good games out of Leon Johnson. It's just tough whenever you're splitting carries with Yeshua Vaught and Braden Weems. And Matthew Boyd, we knew he was poised to have a breakout season, seeing him in 7-on-7s and scrimmages this year. Jared Swatzel, I think, is the surprise to me because you're calling on a starting quarterback who's making his first start, and he goes, I see 13 for 27, 210 yards, 3 touchdowns, and that lone interception. You look at that as a starting quarterback for the first time, man, that's not a bad stat line. That's not a bad stat line at all for a starting quarterback making his first career start. And you got a tough defense in Chucky Doak right there that's sending a lot of pressure. And I don't want to make it sound negative, but you've got a North Green offensive line where a lot of those players are making their first career starts. So to be able to still have an offensive output like that against a veteran line like Chucky Doak, I like that for the future because you're seeing North Green still, they give up too many on defense, but to be able to score 27 like that, that makes you feel good when you get in your own classification, in your own region later on in the season.
Yeah, we knew Eric Tilson was going to have these boys ready, right? I mean, 4 out of the 5 offensive linemen, I believe, were replaced, and we knew they'd be humming. You expect the early holds, you know? When you have turnover at the offensive line position, you're going to have those mental mistakes early in the season. You got to push past that. To have the production they did is amazing, like you said.
So North Green on the road next week at county rival West Green. That'll certainly be a fun game to watch. It'll be the county game of the week on 103.1 WIKQ. Tune in, Coach, and Brian will have the call for that one. One more thing about North Green. I think it's lost in the final score, but they led at one point. Chucky Doak took the opening kickoff for a touchdown. Kobe Love takes it 90 yards. And then you're up 7-6, and I think that kind of took the air out of the sails, or the wind out of the sails for Chucky Doak. And on that touchdown pass, you hit Matthew Boyd for, I think, a 55-yard touchdown. And I think that's when North Green started to, have their confidence boosted. It's demoralizing. You give up a kickoff return touchdown to start the game, but to respond like that 3 plays after, I think that's big, and I think it shows what this big play offense can be capable of.
And what a way to start high school football. With an opening kickoff return touchdown. That's a great way to start it. Not only for us because we were there broadcasting it, but just anyway to be able to kick off your season with a touchdown on the first time, not even a play from scrimmage, just the opening kickoff. But for North Green to be able to respond like that is good to see because it's the first play of the game. It's not lost. You hate seeing the kickoff, the opening kickoff especially, returned for a touchdown. And you have to then realize, you've still got 59 minutes and 50 seconds left in this game. So all is not lost, and for them to be able to respond in 3 plays and score a touchdown, that's big. That shows you that when this team gets knocked down, they're going to be able to get back up later on this season. I know the Jellicoe games are always like that. Coach Eric Tilson will always tell you Jellicoe is always a battle. It always seems like there's some voodoo magic that goes into that game every year. Without your 2 best players last year, just going down there, just having the tough battles over the years, even fully healthy. But to be able to respond like that is good, knowing for the future, hey, when you get down, you look at the Cloudland game last year. You were there for that one. Man, what a game that was. Just an absolute shootout. So to be able to see that same North Green mentality come in from last year to this year so early on, knowing how they can respond back, being able to take big blows is very encouraging.
Yeah, and you talk about mentality from season to season. They lost a lot of pieces. I mean, Thomas Darnell, Owen Pierce, huge pieces for the entire foundation. And to respond like they have, just goes to show good coaching. Yeah.
And then around Region 1 Single A, Hampton out of state last night. They take care of business against Avery County. You had Cosby defeat West Green. Cloudland lost a close one at home against Midway. And then Jellicoe shut out their opponent from Kentucky 55-0. Sunbright, Hancock County, and Unaka all starting 0-1 alongside of North Green. Again, the North Green Huskies on the road next week to their opponent, the West Green Buffaloes. Are we going West Green next? Or Greenville next?
Go Greenville next. Before we do go next, though, let's preview those games next week. Obviously, we'll talk about West Green later on in the back half, and we'll talk about their side with North Green, but you've got a big county matchup. How does West Green feel going into that? I feel like we saved that that topic until later because you win so many in a row and then you lose that game last year. For North Green, you don't have that same mentality of breaking a streak anymore. I know interviewing head coach Eric Tilson, it's not about breaking streaks. It's just about going 1-0 that week. But, the players have that in mind, knowing, we're North Green. People always beat up on us. But, hey, that's different now that we're beating teams that normally beat up on us, like the Cloudlands, like the West Greens, like the Cosbys. You start to win those games. And for North Green going into that game next week, it's another county game. That's exciting. North Green's probably got the most fun season you could possibly have.
Yeah.
You have 7 region games that matter, and then you have 3 county games that, to some players, matter more. And that's such a fun schedule because each and every week you're playing an important game. And to start off with 2 county games against Chuckydook and West Green, athletes that you've played against potentially your whole entire football career from Pop Warner, Pee Wees, midgets, middle school, all the way up to now at the high school ranks. I think that'll be a fun game next week, and I think it'll be a wild card matchup. Each teams are, I won't say brand new, but I mean, you got a lot of newness on both of those teams. So I think that North Green-West Green game will be really fun to see what North Green can do against that new West Green offense.
Yeah, county matchups are always so much fun. I think both teams will get up for it. West Green this year, to circle back to later where I'm going to talk about West Green, they were up for that game last night. I mean, the crowd was there. The players were pumped. I mean, different atmosphere markedly from last year.
I saw the stands in that video you posted. They were full.
Yeah, they were pumping. And Slover, I think he'll have them ready for North Green. That's going to be a very fun matchup.
I think so too. I'd like to see both sides packed out at the range.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll get into Greenville here in this next spot. We'll circle back to West Green here in a little bit and preview their matchup next week against North Green. Last year, it was West Green falling, getting shut out 34-0. Different team, different location. This time around, it'll be played on the range atop Old Big Ridge. But before we take a look at Greenville and the rest of our program here today, let's get a word in from our sponsors.
When you need a tow, you need a company you can count on, and that's Casper's Wrecker. Serving the area since 1992, they provide 24-hour towing and recovery services. From cars, trucks, motorcycles to heavy-duty vehicles, local and long-distance towing, flatbed service, heavy-duty towing and recovery, winch outs, ditch pull-outs, and off-road recovery. They even offer vehicle relocation and load shifting services. When the unexpected happens, don't trust your car to just anyone. Casper's Wrecker, 639-0893.
Hi, it's Drew with Gary's Paint and Body Shop. When you need a collision repair, you want a shop you can trust. At Gary's, our team has been proudly serving Greenville for decades, offering lifetime warranties on all repairs and handling insurance claims so you don't have to stress. Our team uses the latest technology with the personal service only a local business can provide. Choose experience, choose quality, choose peace of mind. That's Gary's.
Hey, welcome back into the morning roundup here as we take a look back at the games that happened a night ago. Week 1 high school football is here. Jimmy Bowman, you were at Burley Stadium as the Greenville Green Devils knocked off their Week 1 rival, the Morristown West Trojans. Talk us through how that one went, and I guess just the excitement, the thrills that came with a season opener at Burley Stadium.
Man, Burley was jumping from the get-go. You had the student section was a Hawaii theme. So, all the green media was walking around in their luau's. It was a good time. But, I mean, just the energy in the stadium was wild. And a lot will be talked about offense from that game, but really I want to talk about the defense. The defense was swarming. I don't think people realized how good the combination of Cole Smith and Jack Lister would be out there as two veterans. Kane Ricker obviously swarming to the ball. I didn't realize how big Ahmad Dixon was. That guy is imposing in the middle. My goodness. Gustavo Alvarez was in on a lot of tackles. Number 6, Caleb, he was so fast. He had a sack. I think we'll see a lot of games where he just comes from the blind side and absolutely lays some wood to a quarterback. But, everyone's going to talk about the offensive output. The defense impressed me way more because that wasn't a bad Morristown West offense. They were a very average to above average team, and Greenville just absolutely laid it to them. They had a couple plays. I believe one of their scores was a kickoff return, so you can accredit that to the defense.
That's what I had in mind to say next is two things I always look at for Greenville is always, one, how many yards did you have? Two, how many yards did you allow? It's always a theme that Greenville allows less than 200, and you look that they allowed 2 touchdowns. Well, one was a kickoff return touchdown, so that's not pinned on the D.
Not pinned on the D. And, the other play was kind of just a missed assignment. It wasn't anything you can't shore up. But, yeah, the defense was just so impressive. But to talk about the offense a little bit, too, I think we all knew coming into the season, Kane to Taryn is a cheat code. Taryn is a mismatch for 98% of DBs in Tennessee. He will beat you long. Kane can throw a very pretty deep ball. So, they get us started 2 pretty easy touchdowns where Taryn's could have walked into the end zone feasibly. Zy Neal continues from 7-on-7s, catching acrobatic passes. If you put it in his vicinity, he will come down with it. And then Kidwell's so athletic.
Underrated.
He's put on some muscle from last year. Even he looks great at DB. It's funny, you watch this offense this year, and you can almost see last year's offense. Kane is Caden Baugh, Taryn is Zayden, Brady Kidwell is Taryn, and then you've got your ancillary pieces that are all contributing a ton.
You got all your running backs, except
Absolutely.
for Teagan back.
Absolutely. I mean, Kane Ricker goes 10 for 11, 305. What a crazy stat line. I mean, not even talking about 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing too. But, everything was firing on all cylinders. I would like to see the rushing attack get shored up a little bit. But, I mean, they ran, 36 plays? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's nothing. 36 plays. And Kane comes out, I believe, for cramps in, the late third. So, I mean, he probably only feasibly got less than 20 plays. So we didn't see.
Averaging a first down every offensive snap.
Wow.
Yeah. The passing attack does not bother me at all. I'd like to see more rushes, but they didn't have to establish a run. That's just the truth of the matter. Jude Dyer runs with a full head of steam and hits people as hard as he can. That's just his style. I love to watch him.
Something I was going to ask you, Tyler. You talked about Kane. It seemed like some injury buzz around Greenville last night. A lot of cramps. I know for us at the Tundra, we had so many stoppages. We probably had 7 or 8 guys go down with the cramps. Was that something that stopped your game in Morristown?
Poor Trent Haynes. You look at a couple weeks ago when we broadcasted Chucky Doe versus South Green Middle, I said, poor Julian Overstreet. I mean, kid was getting beat up. Trent was beat up all night for South Green. We'll talk about him and the Rebels later on, but yeah, he was the one player that I think you frequently saw go down the most, whether it was cramps, getting beat up. I think it was a theme throughout everything last night. And we're on the topic of Greenville. I believe Eddie Spradlin mentioned it in the coaches show this week. Can you beat the heat? Mm-hmm. You're going to be on that hot turf in the month of August. It's a little bit cooler last night than it has been. Of course, we've been practicing and filming 7-on-7s and scrimmages in the 90-degree heat. So the 80-degree heat, it feels like fall out there already compared to what we've been in. But, man, when you get out there in real competition on Friday nights, it's different. And, yeah, you did see a lot of cramps no matter where you were last night on a Friday night.
Going to be a little bit cooler next week, and later kickoff for them. They'll kick at 8 Eastern against the Upperman Bees, who take care of business last night. I know Coach Quarles in his first year at Knox Webb, the historic coach. I think you look at Tennessee high school sports in general, and you look to him and his success as kind of like that marker, that milestone. Well, he begins his first season at Knox Webb, 21-20. That was an incredible game. Webb comes back. Upperman ends up pulling off the 21-20 victory. Two teams that met last year. No Bronson Chafin, no Caden Ball this time around. But you gotta expect a lot of eyeballs, maybe if not all of the eyeballs in the state, going to be on that matchup.
Webb went out and spent a lot of money in the offseason.
Yeah.
I do not think they expected to lose this game to Upperman. That shows me how tough Upperman is. And Greenville better be prepared to make that drive. It's a long drive. It's a long ride. There's going to be roadblocks in that game you're going to have to mentally conquer. But, Eddie Spradlin gets those guys up for big games. We saw it last year. Last year, the Bees come to Burley, and, they wanted that bad. Bronson was on fire. They were going blow for blow from the beginning, knockdown, drag out, and I expect nothing less. But, there's got to be a lot of focus. And, some mental mistakes that happened last night can't happen. You go out there and beat a very good Knox Webb team. That's impressive.
Something the Upper Cumberland Reporter was talking about previewing this Upperman season, this game against Webb, is a team last year that ran a lot of spread, a lot of 5 wide looks with Bronson at quarterback. It's going to look a lot different this year, more power run. And so it gets me thinking, after losing so much up front, how does Greenville kind of counteract and adjust from losing all that they did a season ago?
Yeah, I'm not comparing Morristown West to Upperman, but Morristown West was a very run-heavy scheme, and I was impressed with how Greenville was getting to the ball. That goes back to Cole Smith, Ahmad Dixon, Gustavo, Caleb. They were all swarming and kind of making that offensive line look bad every snap. It remains to be seen how they do against a bigger, more physical team with Upperman, but I have no doubts that Jack Lister's going to meet someone in the hole and knock them back.
And Tyler, Region 1 4A last night, I think the talk of this part of the state is Seymour knocks off Gatlinburg-Pittman. You had Elizabethton fall to Science Hill. You had Northview Academy pull out a close one late, 21-19 over Carter. And a couple of those Region 1 4A teams, Cherokee with a shutout win, that made those improvements last year. You had Volunteer as well come away with a close victory, 30-20 against Daniel Boone. But those Region 1 4A opponents continue to make steps up here. And even with Elizabethton losing, it seems like it's going to be an even better region this year.
I know Greenville fans will love to hear this. Everybody else will hate to hear this, but I'm not shy to say it, and it's been a proven fact over the last few years. Region 1 4A runs through Burley Stadium. You've got to go into Burley Stadium and beat the Green Devils if you hope to win that region, or you just have to go through Greenville themselves. I know the last few years it's always come down to that Elizabethton game. TSSAA has taken notice of that, and it's the Week 11 game every year now since they have taken over and set up region scheduling. But for Greenville, I think it's still just play your own game. I know that everybody looks, Seymour knocking off Gatlinburg-Pittman was a big win. Unfortunately, we do this every football season. We get a little excited in Week 1 with some big wins, overreactions, because you don't know a team's a finished product. One that I think of instantly last year, actually 2 that I think of. I know you're an LSU fan. Who wins that game last year with LSU and Clemson?
LSU.
And then both teams finish unranked.
Yeah.
Florida State beats Alabama last year, failed to make it to a bowl game. Like, Week 1 is always the week where you get a little excited, where you get a little bit disappointed, but then you have to realize it's still Week 1. You've only played one team. You need to play other teams. Injuries happen. You've got to make it throughout the whole entire season. So I'd like to wait a few weeks and then have that conversation again to see how all of these teams kind of match up. Gatlinburg-Pittman lost a lot. Don't know how much that's going to affect them. It affected them Week 1, obviously, with a loss to Seymour. I want to see how Seymour does with more competition. I don't know what Seymour's schedule looks like. Don't know if they face better competition. Don't know if it's lesser comp. But I do want to see what some of these teams look like come Week 3, Week 4. I think going into this week, like you said, all eyes in the state are going to be on the Greenville-Upperman game. It won't hurt either team to lose because neither team has region implications in this game, but it will hurt just as much knowing that this game is a measuring stick. This game is a litmus test. Last year when Greenville beat Upperman, I think everybody took notice. Greenville jumps Upperman in the state rankings. People looked at Greenville as Alcoa's only competition last year, and credit to everybody else for thinking that, because Greenville and Alcoa meet in the semifinals, and Greenville was one of the best teams all year in 3A. So I think you could see the same thing this year. Whoever wins this game, I think people coin as maybe this is the team to beat Alcoa or Anderson County. Maybe they should be one of those top 3 teams in the state. I mean, this is going to be a big-time game this week.
Yeah, Anderson County lost on Thursday night against Powell. All eyes in the state on that Alcoa matchup last night, though. They pull it off 43-42 in overtime. I think 2 overtimes against Maryville. A 2-point conversion. Thomas Manu goes out in that fourth quarter. He comes back, throws that 2-point conversion pass. What a game. Battle of Pistol Creek once again comes through Alcoa with their 3rd straight win that series, too.
And it's always a big-time game for each team, and it's unfortunate that it happens in week 1 now. I used to enjoy how the game was so late into the season, because when you play in week 1, you're not a finished product. But I guess for some people, you love starting off with your biggest rival in week 1 just because you don't want to wait. You want to get right to it. It's like when you're an MMA or a boxer. I mean, you don't want to wait till round 3 or 4 or 8 or 9 whenever they're worn down. You want to get slinging punches in round 1. And I think it's what Alcoa and Maryville sort of like to do now, is you start off the season with each other and you get right to it. I mean, iron sharpens iron. Talk about Alcoa, the measuring stick of a high school program in Tennessee with 11 straight state championships, and you have Maryville, the winningest program in the state. You got arguably the 2 best programs in the state of Tennessee matching up in week 1. I think that was obviously the biggest high school football game this week, knowing the history in the past.
I think second of Baylor and Brentwood, like as far as national spotlight.
Yeah.
Definitely, I mean, the biggest
public game.
I think Greenville Upperman probably takes that for week
this
2.
week, yeah.
Green Devils want to know they'll travel to Baxter, Tennessee next week as they will square off with the Upperman Bees in a top 10 showdown in Class 4A. So we'll come back. We'll talk about West Green as they got things started in the Caleb Slover era. Year 1, game 1 for him. We'll tell you how the Buffaloes fared and what to expect in their showdown next week with the North Green Huskies.
Introducing the Ultra Compact Daikin Fit, a revolutionary HVAC system for ducted homes. It's the perfect fit for zero-lot line homes. In fact, the Daikin Fit can be installed almost anywhere. Reimagine your indoor comfort. See the difference. Feel the benefits. Daikin Fit.
Life can be a lot sometimes. But at Holston Medical Group, our primary care providers are here through it all, whether it be a routine checkup or something unexpected. Because at HMG, we're here for you through every stage of life with the best primary care and support. Whether it's you or the people you love most, choose a primary care provider you can rely on. Choose HMG, your health partner for life. Now accepting new patients.
The West Green Buffaloes got the Caleb Slover era underway last night. It was a loss against the Cosby Eagles coming into the week, expecting a revenge game for those Buffaloes. Knew they were going to be a new-look team, knew they were going to be a question mark of sorts in Region 1, 2A, and certainly got that early on. You were there for that first quarter and second quarter, Jimmy. You talked about it, though, that atmosphere just seemed different as far as the energy, as far as the overall buy-in from that program. What'd you like from the Buffaloes?
Yeah, I think it's very easy to tell that it's a different atmosphere on the range. A lot of smiles pregame. A lot of people, way more optimistic this year. And they showed it the first drive. They marched down the field. Good kickoff return gets him, I believe, to somewhere around the 40. Aiden Thompson calls his own number 3 times, I believe, for some good yardage. Hits a receiver there. And then a jet sweep, wide receiver jet sweep, gets him in the end zone. And, man, the crowd pop was insane. But I'm really hopeful for them this season, like we said, in the North Green matchup. I think they're just a team that has so much to play for now. Whereas last year I was there for that Cosby matchup. I made that drive. and they go out, score in the first series, and then fall flat on their face. They have so many pieces now that I believe the sky's the limit for them as a program. Building for the future, and the range was just electric as well.
And Tyler, you're obviously an alumnus of West Green High School. To have good quarterback play, I know you talk about some of the good quarterbacks there in West Green history. Aiden Thompson, what a jump that he's made from year one to year two in this new system with Coach Slover too. You've been pretty close to this West Green program throughout the offseason. For them to come out with a good performance still in a losing effort against Cosby, what kind of hope does that give this West Green faithful and I guess support?
You look at the preview edition of the Tommy's Plum and Caleb Slover show, and one of his goals to start out was obviously you want to win more football games. This was a 1-10 team last year, but one of his realistic goals to start the season, can we be more competitive in football games? Can we be in some of these games in the fourth quarter that West Green was out of in years past? It's a West Green team, and I'm not afraid to say it, even if the fan base is one of the fan bases that get a little upset whenever you say negative things about them. But this was a team in the past whenever if you get punched in the mouth and you're down by multiple scores, it's a team that would lay down and quit. You didn't see that last night. You saw them make an effort to come back down 2 touchdowns and make it a game late. So I liked what I saw out of West Green last night. What Coach Slover came to fruition last night, let's be in some ball games that people don't expect us to be in. West Green jumps up first, too. That's something that we normally don't see in the past. You go down and score first offensive drive.
Yes,
first offensive drive, you march down the field and score. Kyler Patterson scoring that jet sweep to start off the Caleb Slover era. And Aiden Thompson, man, how many rushing yards?
21 carries for 162.
As a quarterback,
yeah.
One of the probably the leading rusher in Greene County last night. And at the quarterback position, we're not surprised by that anymore, knowing how the game of football has changed so much. But I'm always told, Caleb Slover's system is going to be air raid. You're going to see him air it out and throw it more. To see the quarterback have 162 yards did surprise me, and I like seeing that of Aiden Thompson too, because you see a kid that's really changed his look in the last year. He was small last year. You look at him out there on that field, you instantly notice 15 small. You look at him this year, you're like, that's the same kid?
Yeah.
He's put on a lot of muscle.
Yes.
He's made a lot of improvements in his game. He's matured a lot, too. It's good to see him go out there and do well last night and play a good football game against Cosby.
We turn the page next week, in-county rivalry for a second straight week. North Green, West Green, this time on the range. Game last year, a 34-0 shutout win for the Huskies. It broke an 18-game losing streak against the Buffaloes, and it ended a 27-game skid against county competition that dated all the way back to 2014. Kind of feel like there's a lot of buzz around that West Green program. Wanted to get your lick back, so to speak, from last year.
Right. And these games, the hype builds, the anticipation. We all here right now think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be like that Chucky Doak game from West Green last year. I think it's going to be a 14-7, just absolutely nail biter. I punch you, you punch me type game. I think both teams are physical. I think both teams will be up for it. I'm excited for it. Aiden Thompson is just, he's a difference maker. He's put on some muscle, and I think he'll be much improved. And I don't know how it's going to pan out. I just know I'm excited to watch it.
And I'm excited to see what each team comes out with on offense, because you've got new quarterbacks. You've got semi-new offensive line for West Green, new offensive line for North Green. And I want to see what each other looks like against each other, because it's a pretty evenly matched game from our perspective on paper. Love the county rivalry games. I like how last year and this year we get 6 county games to start off our season with how everybody has paired up on each other's schedule. So I'm excited to see that game next week. I think West Green likes being at home the first 2 games of the year. It's always nice when you start those home games. Unfortunately, a lot of times that means you got to go on the road at the end of the year when the games might matter a little bit more. But excited to see some more football on the range next week between the Huskies and the Buffs.
Will be the Gateway Ford Nissan County Game of the Week on 103.1 WIKQ. Brian Staten, and the coach, Barry Carter, will be on the call. Everybody except for one has been covered, a team that we will be covering closely next week as South Green will host Daniel Boone for their home opener. But we'll talk about the South Green Rebels in their first game of the season, a loss last night against Morristown East. That's when the weekly morning roundup continues right after this.
Ready for a game changer? Say goodbye to costly lash extensions and fussy false lashes. Merle Norman Cosmetics has launched the formula you've been waiting for, Lash Extension Tubing Mascara. Wrap your lashes in 360-degree tubing technology for your longest, most defined, and separated lashes yet. This buildable formula won't flake, smudge, or transfer. Available in long-wearing rich black and a high-trending rich cocoa brown. Lash Extension Tubing Mascara and other new essentials are available now at Merle Norman Greenville and Eastgate Shopping Center.
Hey folks, it's Gateway Ford in Greenville. Right now, everyone gets Ford employee pricing. The same deal Ford employees get. No games, no negotiation. Save maximum green in Greenville today at Gateway Ford on Highway 11 East or at gatewayfordgreenville.com. Save some green in Greenville at Gateway Nissan, carrying on a 55-year tradition of doing business your way. Save thousands on Sentra, Rogue, Frontier, and more. Take the short drive to Gateway Nissan in Greenville or online at gatewaynissangreenville.com.
Welcome back into the morning roundup, taking a look back at the Week 1 high school football scoreboard. One more team left to cover. We've talked about Chucky Doak over North Green. We talked about Greenville's opening win at Burley Stadium and West Green in a losing effort against Cosby. One more team left on the docket. Tyler Nichols, you were there firsthand in Hamlin County last night. Let's go there with the South Green Rebels losing to the Morristown East Cyclones. Hurricanes. It's cutting out. Yeah, there you go.
Apologies to any Hurricane fans out there, but the one thing I need to mention first is there's a lot of people that they pay homage to. Burke Tony Field then it has 3 names for the field. Salisbury, Seiler, and something else field. So I love how they pay homage to a lot of the important figures throughout Morristown athletics in the past, but it was my first time actually at Burke Tony Stadium. I was unaware that Morristown East and Morristown West shared the same field. Was unaware that the actual turf had changed. It used to be two-tone green. Now it's full green with that hill behind it. And let's get right to the game. I'm not going to mince words. South Green struggled last night. It was evident on the scoreboard, only scoring 6. South Green did good on defense. Offensively, struggled to move the ball. I think going into the game, I didn't know much about Morristown East. I only knew how Morristown East finished with 1 win last year, and it was South Green in a really tight game. I get there and you start to look over, you really understood how much different it is in 6A football. You have 60 to 65 kids. South Green has good numbers this year, and they're in the high 30s. You look at the size difference between East and South, you started to notice, man, it might be a tough game up front. And to some it was, to some it wasn't. I think the line for South Green was a brand new line. You're replacing Colton Silvers. You're replacing Heath Norton, Pablo Rosario. Lucas Couch gets in there at the offensive line at the end of the year. I mean, going into that playoff game, you're replacing 4 of 5 of those starting linemen, and you're replacing your all-state quarterback. So it was a tough adjustment last night for South Green. Morristown East did a well enough job on defense. They bottled them up, made sure Tripp East didn't have many explosive plays. The one interesting part of the game is in the third quarter when South Green understands we're not moving the ball really well. A little bit of a different formation. Tripp East stepping in at quarterback with Trent Haynes in the backfield, running a little bit of an option back there. Having one of their second most productive and fruitful offensive drives, not able to turn it into any points, but able to move the ball better than they had. I think they might have picked up the most first downs on that drive, but just a different type of game than we're used to with South Green. We're used to South Green still holding teams to 20 or less points. Defense did fine. You look at 27, obviously you want less than that. Same situation we talked about in the Greenville game. 7 of those come directly from a kickoff return. 6 come from a kickoff return touchdown. So the defense only allows 3 touchdowns, which is what you're used to from South Green's defense. They're a defense that's going to allow somewhere in the teens. So it was a fine night on defense, just a struggle bus on offense, not able to get anything done. Frustrating night, too. You could see just on the coaches' faces. I won't say the word defeated, but I won't say dejected either. I'll use frustrating again. A frustrating night for the coaching staff, not able to get anything done. And that's what South Green's used to. You look at South Green and the games that they play. You look at the losses last year. They scored 22 and a loss to Morristown East. They score well in the Concord Christian loss. I think the only game where they were really limited was Happy Valley and Marion County when you're facing 2 of the top teams in the state in Class 2A from the season past. So this is a game you're just going to have to throw behind you. A lot of stupid mistakes, too. Coach Sean Jones mentioned that twice in the post-game interview. A lot of stupid mistakes. Penalties that shouldn't have been penalties. Penalties that you could 100% completely avoid. Just a lot of things South Green needs to clean up in that department. And he mentioned it, and I'll agree with it. I think South Green's fine going forward. It's a tough game against a 6A team. Again, it's a 6A team. You play in 2A. Your enrollment is very low. You're getting the best kids from the county the best kids from your school with 4 everyday coaches.
Yeah.
It's a tough thing to compete against 6A like that. But South Green will be fine. They move into a game with Boone this week that I think could be interesting too. As you mentioned, it'll be our Bachman-Bernard game of the week presented by Tommy's Plumbing. A win over Boone last year for South Green. I know South Green would love to do the same, but a lot of things that South Green will have to fix.
And in 2A last night, you look at Cumberland Gap, who got the win over Hancock County. You also look at Happy Valley. They took care of business against Unaka as we expected. Of course, West Green falling to Cosby. But, yeah, going to be another bigger opponent next week when Daniel Boone comes to town. I was kind of surprised with how Boone fared in their Week 1 matchup last night against Volunteer, 30-20. They do lose by 10, but a much closer score than certainly I thought it would be. It'll be a tough matchup next week on Rebel Hill. And again, like you said, it will be our game of the week. We will have it broadcasted live here on First Horizon Green Sports Zone, both Facebook and YouTube, as well as the Radio Greenville Facebook page. Also on the radio airwaves, 95.5 FM WSMG. Excitement leading into that matchup against Boone. Rebel Hill, I know every time you open up a season at home, it's exciting too. Do we see a return to form? Like you said, Week 1, sometimes you can just throw it out the window. Is this a good chance for the Rebels to just hit the restart button?
I believe so. It's different on Rebel Hill. I think a lot of times you look at college football. I know you're an LSU fan. People claim it's different in Death Valley. It's a lot different when you have to travel on the road and play in some teams' venues. And I think with Rebel Hill, it's different. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the fan base. I really don't know what it is, but teams seem to struggle when you go to Rebel Hill. You look at an Eagleton team last year that was a semifinal team in the playoffs. They go to South Green, struggle. You look at some teams at Happy Valley, world beaters last year. You go into that game, I think 3 touchdowns. It's different on Rebel Hill. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Obviously, the old saying is you're a touchdown better at home. But when Bad Seamstress Blues by Cinderella plays right before the game starts and South Green runs out, as that old hashtag that Lori Wilhoit uses, Rebels are ready.
South Green Rebels now 0-1 on the young season, again at home next week against Daniel Boone. We'll have it live here on First Horizon Green Sports Zone. Guys, quick wrap around as we take a look. Any final thoughts as Chuggadook defeats North Green 60-27. Greenville defeating Morristown West 36-13. Cosby defeating West Green on the range last night 33-25. And then South Green, the score you see on your screen, falling to Morristown East 27-6. A quick look to next week for our Week 2 schedule and where our different broadcast crews will be. Chuggadook at home against Sullivan East. Excited for that one. 2 1-0 teams meeting in Lower Afton as the Black Hole will have its season opener. You have North Green and West Green on the road, on the range. It should be a fun one. That's our county game of the week on 103.1 WIKQ. The coach and Brian Staten will have the call from the Big Dog. And Baxter, Tennessee, later kick, 8 o'clock Eastern kick as Ron, Pat, and Richard will make the trip to Upperman, where the Bees and the Green Devils square off in a top 10 showdown in the state. And then South Green at home against the Daniel Boone Trailblazers. Okay. Sometimes with these
Sometimes you
scores,
forget. I forget. I've done the same thing many times before.
But South Green at home next week against Boone. We'll have it as our game of the week coverage here on Green Sports Zone. Guys, football is here. Week 1 is here. This next week also Tuscaloosa gets started, which I'm really excited about. Brian Staten and I will be there. Thursday night kick under the lights of Pioneer Stadium from Tuscaloosa University. We'll have our audio cast here on Green Sports Zone. We will have our radio broadcast on 95.5 FM WSMG. A lot of stuff to be excited about. The high school football season is here.
And I love it. I know I always talk about how much I hate football season. I love Friday nights. It's fun being out there. It's just so much work. I know you know about it. I know you know about it. Just behind the scenes, it's a lot of stuff. But, man, when you're down there for those 2.5, 3 hours on Friday night, that's when you really enjoy things. Obviously, I don't like being up at 3:30 writing a paper and working on stuff and then waking up to come here in the morning. But it's all worth it in the end. Football season's fun. You only get it for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
I think it's what makes it more fun, too, is it's only at the minimum 11 weeks throughout the season. So you really cherish it more knowing it's not basketball where you've got around 30 games. It's not baseball where you're doing the same. Football, you have a limited amount of time to really enjoy it. So whenever you've got the opportunity on Friday nights, really enjoy it. And for everybody out there, too, go enjoy a game on Friday night. You'll have a lot of teams within the county this week. Chucky Doak at home, South Green at home, and then West Green and North Green both in county.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Greenville, the only one out of county, really out of the time zone. So you'll have to travel a few hours on the road for that one. Obviously, if you don't want to, 99 FM, 1340 AM WGRV, you can keep in touch with that one. But I encourage everybody to go out and enjoy some football on Friday nights. Obviously, we love when you tune in and watch it, listen to it, whatever. But we do encourage you to go out and support the teams, too, on Friday nights.
Jimmy, you're always the closest. You're down on the sidelines. You were there for 2 games last night. How thrilled were you that football's back?
We're just so back. I mean, it's so much fun. We're so blessed to live in the county we do that we have the Black Hole, the Range, Rebel Hill, Burley Stadium. Who did I forget? The Tundra. Oh,
pictures,
my
yeah.
gosh. New.
Yeah, it cut out.
But
New black jerseys, too.
Oh,
we buried the lead. We buried the lead.
Yeah.
North Green gets a two-parter here. We got to talk about that,
The
too.
black jerseys. Did y'all read Tate's article?
Yes.
The title.
100. Yeah, that was
Black
fantastic.
Plagues North Green.
I like the opening.
It makes sense now. I understand it a little bit.
That opening line, too. North Green appeared to be gracious hosts on Friday night, cladding themselves in the sable of their crosstown foes from Chucky Doak. Did not end
Tate has a Shakespearean way about him that his articles are great.
Yeah,
but anyways, I got us off topic. We're so blessed to be in the county we are because of how awesome the atmospheres are. The Range was popping, Burley was popping. Rebel Hill next week, I'm sure will be insane. The Tundra, I'm sure the crowd was electric there. The Black Hole always gets up for big games. To be able to stand on the sidelines and watch and take in the crowds and the atmosphere is always so cool.
Were the metal bleachers louder?
I think there were more people there. That probably helped. It seemed pretty loud.
I think you can stomp on them now. And it gives you more of a home atmosphere. You couldn't do that in the past. It hurt your feet.
It was really cool to see the Tundra. Is it called the Husky Walk or the Tundra?
Yeah,
Walk?
the Husky Walk.
Yeah, with those new black jerseys, and that was just really cool. By the way, our Pick'em segment, we'll have to
yes.
We'll have to workshop it, but. We did terribly at first. We did awful, but I think we got better as the night went on. We're going to have our records up, I'm sure, throughout the week. Coach Buchanan, notable small school over a big school guy. Don't think he fared that well last night in his pregame picks. But we'll reveal our Week 2 guest picker coming up shortly in the next couple days.
Did you all receive an email last night about your Green Sports Zone pick'em?
I did not.
Did you not? I received one last night. I did decent last night. Yeah. The one that you could fill out on the website. Yeah.
I got hosed. Yeah, I did terrible.
I like also, if you haven't done that yet, go on our website, or if you're on Facebook right now, scroll up to the pinned post, and you can check it out on there. We'll have Week 2's up sometime later this weekend or on Monday. But It's fun to look at it afterwards, and it shows you the amount of people who picked each team. I was really surprised at some of the amount of people that picked some teams, and I'm obviously surprised at some of the teams who won. Like, I didn't fare as well as I would like to. I think I got 11 of 17 right. I didn't see any of your names up there up top, so unfortunately I don't think any of us really did well this week. I'll go back and look at my email right now, but I think our winner was a guy by the name of Connor. So, Connor, congratulations. You've won the Week 1's Pick'em. I don't know if we have any prize. Sorry, we're not the competitors. We don't have any money to give out to you, but Connor Hall, 15 of 17.
Connor Hall! That's Chucky Duck's left tackle.
Oh.
Connor Hall.
It's 15 of 17 correct.
Wow.
Connor Hall, congratulations.
Yeah, good job,
you did
Connor.
tremendous.
Shout out Connor Hall.
Did
He's
he
our
get
Pick'em winner.
I don't know. I don't know if I can click on his. And
I think,
look.
yeah, GP had to be
There's no shot he got the GP.
that big upset. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up for us. Not every show this year is going to run this long, but you kind of have to when you talk about Week 1, everything that goes into it, and then all the excitement that builds around to it. Just so much to look forward to. And then there's so much talent again in Greenville and Greene County this year. Some new players, some new teams entering the fold with new systems, new coaching staffs, new regimes starting around the county. And like you said, the same great atmospheres, the same great football being played here in Greenville and Greene County. That'll do it for us here today on a Saturday morning. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Not too long from now, we'll be saying enjoy your college football Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend as well. We'll see you Tuesday for Greenville at Chucky Doak volleyball for our spotlight game of the week, with the game starting at 6, pregame coverage beginning 15 minutes prior. Middle school football off this week. We'll have Tusculum football on Green Sports Zone Thursday on an audio cast only. And then Friday, your Bowman Bernard game of the week presented by Tommy's Plumbing will be South Green hosting Daniel Boone. He's Jimmy Bowman. He's Tyler Nichols. I'm Matthew Palazzo saying so long and God bless from Greenville.